Sorry.
Okay. So, for our ongoing discussion regarding strategies that enhance both retention and comprehension, our discussion this evening is going to be on the use of eye charts. And as you can see from the title of my PowerPoint, eye charts, a guide for conducting research and inquiries. The eye and eye chart refers to inquiry. And in terms of rationale for using an eye chart, as you can see, we are talking about research, but I like to think more of it as problem-based or project-based assignments. So the use of an inquiry chart is just one of many strategies in which the student can examine a topic based on their prior knowledge, and they get a chance to integrate that prior knowledge with additional information that they have an opportunity to gather through thought-derived questions. The eye chart strategy is organized into 3 basic steps, each of which consists of activities meant to engage and enable the student in evaluating a given topic. And those steps are planning, interacting, and integrative or evaluation. And we'll talk about each one of these a little bit more in depth as we move on. Now, where did eye charts come from? Eye charts have actually been around since 1992, and they were designed by James Hoffman in conjunction with Professor McKinley and his collaborators. Now, with any type of strategy, one of the first things you need to determine is, what do I need to get started? Every strategy has to have a set of what we call most typical resources. Eye charts are really simple in that regard. The only resources that you really need for an eye chart is some type of print or electronic media, books, magazines, textbooks, journals, etc., and internet access, whether it be in your school computer lab, library, etc. You have those, you are ready to do an eye chart. Now, how do you get started with an eye chart? One of the beauties of eye charts is that they can either be teacher directed or student directed. And I think the difference may have to do with the age group in which the eye charts are being used. Now, in terms of that, what's the recommended age group? The experts say that eye charts can be used as early as 4th grade all the way through high school. However, just based on my own research and reading on the topic and considering the nature of eye charts, that being project-based or problem-based learning, I personally would not recommend using eye charts until at the earliest middle school. High school definitely, but I would say earlier than middle school, and even then I might focus more on 7th and 8th graders rather than 6th graders. Now, as I said, the teacher can help the student get directed, or the student can direct themselves. In the case of teacher-directed activities, usually the teacher will either choose a topic for the student to follow up on, or possibly help guide the student in choosing a topic of interest. Once the topic has been chosen, the teacher may collect possible resources for the student to use, followed by attempts. And this may be the hardest part with the teacher-directed activity, getting the kids to discuss a particular topic and to voice their opinions and voice their ideas. Once that has been accomplished, usually the teacher will provide a blank eye chart template that the student will be able to work with in terms of topic selection and answering or asking whatever questions come along. In terms of student-directed activities, not much different. The student is allowed to choose their own topic and collect their own resources. Everything else is pretty much the same. Now, earlier we said that there were 3 parts to getting started. And the first part, which we'll call phase 1, is the planning. So how exactly are you going to do your eye chart? What's going to be the focus of your eye chart? And by that, we're talking about identifying a topic. Once a topic has been identified, usually very simple questions regarding that topic are asked. And those questions typically are related to the student's own pre-knowledge of the topic. Then the eye chart itself is going to be constructed. If you don't want to construct your own eye chart, there are plenty of resources on the internet where you can print out an eye chart, and you begin collecting materials needed for your inquiry. The second part, phase 2, involves what we call interacting. Here, the student really gets a chance to show what they know, or possibly in some cases what they may not know. But generally, we're talking about exploring prior knowledge. Now, if it is a collaborative effort where the student may be working in groups, then of course we want all the kids within each group to share whatever facts they happen to find interesting about that given topic. And of course, there's a lot of reading. You read, you reread, and then you read again. The last phase, phase 3, involves what we call integrating and evaluating. So, once the questions have been put forth in phase 2, now it's time to research the answers for those questions. Now, with eye charts, it's expected that the answers to those questions are going to come from multiple sources. The student has pretty much a free hand in determining what resources they want, but it has to be from multiple sources. You cannot answer any of the questions just using one source. Now, assuming that you use multiple resources, and also assuming that some of the answers may deviate a little bit, now it's time to compare and contrast those answers. And then we summarize the answers to our questions, and that may lead up to a report. Now, I took the liberty of constructing a eye chart sample, and my own personal area is 8th grade science. And one of the experiments that I've had my kids do in the past is learning how to separate the components of a mixture. So hopefully you can see eye chart sample exercise, resolution of a mixture. Now, so obviously my topic is resolution of mixture. I'm giving myself 4 basic questions to guide my thought processes. Question 1, are there different types of mixtures? 2, are mixture components chemically bonded together? 3, do the components of a mixture change when they're brought together? And the last one, can we separate mixture components without damaging them? So I think those are 4 really, really good questions in which we can possibly find some really neat answers. as we stated before, once you have your initial questions, now you have a chance to maybe show off a little bit and show what you know about those topics. Again, this is just to kind of get the wheels turning. So, are there different types of mixtures? Generally, mixtures are small print, just bear with me. Mixtures are generally synonymous with solutions. That's basic physical science. When you use the word mixture, the word solution usually pops into most people's heads. Are mixture components chemically bonded? No. In fact, that's one of the criteria for a mixture. You're bringing two completely distinct substances together, but they are not bonded. They are just brought together within the same space, but they are not chemically bonded. If they are chemically bonded, it's no longer a mixture. It's considered to be a compound or a molecule. Do components of a mixture change when they're brought together? No, not at all. Mixture components, by definition, have to retain their individual properties. Again, if that doesn't happen, it's not a mixture. And lastly, can we separate mixture components without damaging them? Mixture components should never lose any of their properties upon separation. So whatever you start with is whatever you're going to finish with. Now, once we've established our questions, established basic answers to those questions, now we look at other sources. So again, these initial answers we didn't have to look up. These are things that at least I know my students should know off the top of their head, just if they come to class. So, source one, I chose my kids' class notes. So notes that they've taken in class while we're discussing the concept of mixtures. Source two, my textbook. Source three, I actually chose JACS. JACS is the abbreviation for the Journal of the American Chemical Society, which actually has a kids section. And the fourth source is just basic internet. Now, I'm not going to bore you by reading through all of the possible answers, but as you see, for every source, we have a few answers that pertain to each one of our guiding questions. Once we have multiple sources, now we're ready to summarize them. Also, if you like, it's not mandatory, but if you like, to the far right we have two columns. What we call interesting facts and figures, and any new questions that happen to come along in the process of you doing your research. So under interesting facts and figures, something that I thought was pretty interesting. By training, I'm a biochemist, so I admit that I don't know much about inorganic compounds, probably even less about metallurgy. I thought it was really interesting that precious gemstones are actually considered to be mixtures of silicon dioxide, also known as sand, and metals themselves. So when you see an emerald or a ruby or an amethyst, what you're really seeing is a combination of sand and some type of metal. And if that's true, is it possible to separate those components without damaging the gemstone itself? I think that would make an interesting little experiment or project. Now, what are some of the advantages or benefits to using eye charts? Probably the greatest advantage is your students, one, have an opportunity to research a topic that they may have chosen, which means they probably will pay a little more attention than normal. And that can only help our concerns regarding reading comprehension and retention. Also, these are skills that they're going to need in their future lives. You do not have to be a research scientist in order to have keen analytical reasoning skills. Those are areas that pretty much show themselves in every walk of life. There are numerous resources on the internet for anyone who is interested in looking up or researching eye charts. Eye charts are even used at the undergraduate and graduate level. Of course, some of the questions and some of the topics are a little more advanced, but it's the skills that your kids are picking up right now while they are still young and still forming and still very impressionable, that hopefully they'll be able to carry with them long after they leave here. So, in closing, I just want to say that, again, eye charts, one of many strategies that are available to us to help our kids with reading comprehension. And if you are interested, I hope you'll do a little reading on it yourself in the future. Thank you.